while.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Missouri. We are here at the first stop of the 2024 eMTB Destination Tour. We're checking out Howler Bike Park, a family-owned and operated bike park that's almost 2 years old and have been doing a lot of work here in the Midwest, Southeast. Not quite sure exactly where Missouri sits, but it's not too far away from Bentonville, and it's a spot we think you should definitely check out.
I would classify this as like a destination bike park.
That was my first shuttle experience coming out here.
I mean, the food and the repair shop and the showers and everything else.
We were out here in January. 5 degrees. We're the only ones out here. Yeah.
5 degrees?
5 degrees ice.
That's really cold.
Yeah.
I didn't know it got that cold here.
Yeah.
I drove 250 miles out of my way to come down here this trip.
And was it worth it?
Absolutely.
Okay. So our crew has been here at Howler Bike Park for about 8 days now. It was also the location of our eMTB Shootout this year, and we decided to do a separate feature on this place because we think it is well worth a visit if you're passing through this neck of the woods. There is everything from technical rocky chunk trails to well-built flow trails with berms and jumps and some amazing wood features as well. And of course, they are always working here. The park is open Thursday to Sunday, and then the on-staff trail crew are here doing maintenance during the week while they're closed. And for those of you that do show up on an e-bike, if you don't want to ride the shuttle truck, we've got basically a pretty, I don't want to say simple, but it is a steep climb trail. It's about 400 feet in elevation, and I think we were actually beating the shuttle truck most of the times as long as we were keeping our feet down on the pedals and getting that power down. So you can bang out some really quick laps and still be pretty fatigued at the end of the day. They are a small family-run business. They really pride themselves on having the best trails they can and treating their guests as family when they show up here, feeling valued and like they're having a good time.
Hot lap.
This is 500 horsepower right here, baby.
Not only are you working with family, but you're doing something passionate.
Exactly.
That people love and then you yourselves love, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How did this happen?
Well, that's a very good question. I ask myself that often. Certainly passion for the sport and for all things outdoors, really, but we were tired of pedaling all the time. That'd be the truth of it, and we didn't have intention necessarily to build a bike park. We definitely saw this property and we're like, well, this would be really cool for friends and family, if nothing else.
Right.
And so we purchased it and we built what is now Mustard Tiger. Started riding it and friends started coming out, and because everybody was asking us, we want a bike park, they'd be cool to have a downhill park and in this area, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, well, maybe. I set a crazy deadline here. It was November, December of 21, the end of 21. And I'm like, May 20th, a week or maybe before the Bike Fest at Bentonville.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, well, we need to be open before that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you made the deadline. And
We made the deadline. It's a cool story. The night before we were gonna open, like the furniture and everything that's down here in basecamp arrives. And that we have welders here still finishing up. The trail builders are all out here. We had 4 different companies out here. It was the most amazing thing of 40 people maybe, I don't know how many, a lot. They all kind of came down towards the end of the day, all pitched in, and 4 in the morning, we dropped that rock right there with a big excavator and said, we're open. Winging it completely, but we hit May 20th.
And everyone had a good time riding.
Everybody had an awesome time, and we, learned a lot and still learn a lot.
So when you first started coming out here after the trails were getting built and the park had been established, what were some of your first thoughts?
Oh man, I was just stoked that there was something you could run a shuttle on in the area, because within 3 hours of here, that wasn't really an option at all, and there weren't trails that you could run a shuttle on. So first and foremost would definitely be just being able to get some laps in on stuff that goes downhill.
Right, and I'd imagine it's like being an enduro racer, right? Like gravity is where most of the racing and stuff happens. So
Totally.
having a lift access spot to
Yeah.
ride a lot more
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
super important.
Absolutely, you have to have it.
So on top of like the training benefit and then just the personal fun benefit of having these trails here, content creation, community, like what does all that stuff benefit you here, and what does it mean having so many other cool riders being able to shuttle access trails?
Yeah, it's, I think it just kind of represents the sport growing in general, and then definitely specifically in this area. Like this kind of venue didn't exist, you know, before this place was here. And now you can get together with a bunch of buddies and just run shuttle laps all weekends, where before that wasn't even an option, or you had to travel pretty far to do it. So yeah, I think it's like a stake in the ground that'll kind of continue to help the region grow with mountain biking in general.
Where do you see most of the riders that you meet come out from that are here riding?
When I'm just here kind of like on a random day, it's honestly like this really big web of people in kind of like a 400 or 500 mile radius. Because I'll come out here in the middle of winter and people from Texas and some of maybe the northern states that are like snowed in can kind of come down here and ride their trail bike, which they wouldn't be able to ride all year wherever they normally live. So yeah, a lot of people who live in the surrounding area, and then more people from, you know, 4 or 5 hours away than I would expect are here usually.
Best part about this job?
For me, working on trail, I just love working on trail, stuff like that. But then, I don't know, getting to talk to all kinds of different people is pretty cool too.
Busy day, how many shuttles do you think you do?
Most of the time on like a good Saturday or Sunday, we've got 2, maybe 3 shuttles going, but we've had a couple points where we've had all 4 going, and it's pretty hectic, but it's super cool.
Yeah, buddy.
Biggest thing is just seeing this place grow, and then being like what's behind it is super cool, and I don't know, just getting to ride all the time is pretty sick, and then yeah.
Now obviously the main reason you come to a bike park is to ride bike trails, and there's plenty of them here, and they are adding new ones almost weekly it seems. But having amenities on site is always a plus. Right now we're up here on a deck area with dining tables. Right below us is the coffee bar, bike shop where they've got a rental fleet, and here we've got a food truck which is cranking out some really delicious food and specials.
Oh, look at that.
Just up here is one of the peaks where some of the trails are currently running and operating, and up here we're looking at 2 other peaks where we actually just scratched in our own new trail that they will be adopting. Awesome, check it out, it's called Howler Wolf, and they've got future plans to put in dual slalom tracks, more downhill tracks, more enduro trails, and get people to all 3 of these peaks here. What were the catalyst, or what made you think I could start a bike park, we could make this happen?
I wish we had that much confidence going in, but we really wanted to fill a need, which was like kind of showcasing Missouri's trails, and that just kind of blossomed into a base camp and food, and we were just going to have a tent set up in the middle of the woods that you checked in on, and then we were just going to run you up on side-by-side, so it obviously didn't end up that way.
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you've got a pretty amazing base camp and shuttle
Appreciate it.
system.
Yeah,
and
thank
it's-
you. We have plans to build hopefully upwards of like 50 trails when it's all said and done, and so a lot to do, but really our hang up now is figuring out the best way logistic-wise and operation-wise to get people to the top of those. So once we figure that out, we're getting closer, we feel. We're gonna have, trails everywhere is the goal, so yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
The great thing about it, honestly, is the mountain bikers here really take ownership of the park. Like I said, in 2 years, I might have picked up 5 water bottles, maybe. And it's theirs. It's their park, and that's how we feel. It's their family, their guests, some of these even teenage kids that work here are like, let's go, you know, it's a dream job.
Yeah.
It is a dream, and it feels like a dream when I wake up every morning. I'm like, no way this is real, but it's a super fun time. We get to make people happy and kind of get to live out a super fun life in action.
So once you're done riding, being able to just roll right up to this cabin, do laundry, have a place to relax, change, and get ready for another day of riding is an absolute blast. Just across the creek bed there are all the glamping tents where the rest of the crew were sleeping. So if you're looking for a spot to come in southern Missouri, like I said, if you're passing through Kansas City, St. Louis, or going down to Bentonville, it's only about an hour and a half or 2 hours away from Bentonville. I think this destination is absolutely worth a visit. The friendliness and the passion from the crew alone are worth the trip. And then when you factor in how awesome the trails are and how much fun stuff you can get into in Branson, Missouri, this place is definitely worth a check. So thanks to Howler very much for hosting us. We look forward to coming back once they get Peak 2 and Peak 3 running with even more trails. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.